And I think there's a lot of in the comments about him. And people are trying to put this up against him and Garnacho. And I think Garnacho's been all right. Right? Apparently, I hate Garnacho. Because you know how it is. If you just prefer one player over another, you obviously hate the other one.
Yeah. Southampton 0, Manchester United 3. I'm joined by that man, Ste Howson. First 30 minutes aside, and we will get to those, so we don't have to caveat it too much. Was that United's best performance of the season so far?
Low bar, Joe.
It is a low bar. But was it? Say it. I want to hear it. I want to hear you say it was good.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Perfect. That's all from us. Right, we'll see in a
Listen,
bit.
I don't think Fulham was as bad as made out. Just because it took us a late winner against Fulham, people are like, well, if it took you a late winner, it couldn't have been good. It was good against Fulham. The other two, not so much.
No, the other two, not so much. Just let's get into some of the details here then, because I know... Let's go through the game chronologically, because we can't ignore that first 30 minutes as much as I'd love to. Southampton came out the blocks and looked good, kept the ball really well, created a few chances here and there, and that sort of culminated in the penalty. That first 30 minutes, were you surprised by Southampton? Did they bring something that you didn't expect? Or was that kind of what you thought we would see, given how well they've kept the ball and done things in the first 3 games despite losing them?
No, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen with Southampton. I was wrong on a few things, because I thought United would win today, but I thought it would probably be a really bad performance if we won.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost like a proper damned if you do kind of performance from United, where you get no credit for winning, because you should be beating relegation fodder, but actually they're really awkward to play against, even though that they do give teams a little bit of a chance, and we saw that they gave teams a little bit of a chance today, because obviously that's where we got our chances. I thought we would get opportunities from them cocking it up by overplaying.
Yeah.
Wasn't really the case. So there was a few things that didn't go how I thought it would go, but them having so much of the ball, that was absolutely what I thought was going to happen. Because that's what they do, and people are trying to downplay the fact that they had 78% possession away to Newcastle as a newly promoted team, first game of the season. That's insane. Like, this is a team that has got, like, I think at some point had more passes than Liverpool, so definitely Liverpool, but Arsenal and City. Like, they're doing mad stuff. They just don't have any potency at all in the final third. So I don't think United were necessarily bad. I think we almost just allowed them to have the ball. I thought in that first 30 or so, United had opportunities on the counter, on the transition, where we looked pretty good. And actually thought, outside of that kid who did look good, didn't it, to be fair to him? Dingbat, or whatever he's called.
Yeah. Dibbling.
Yeah. Dwayne Dibley. I thought outside of him, that's a niche line in it.
I don't know that. I'm still laughing at Dingbat. Just the most sort of PG insult you can give someone, that, innit? You absolute dingbat. But yeah, Dingbat was good.
Yeah, Dwayne Dibley was all right. And as soon as, like, apart from him, they had nothing that you thought was going to open us up. But United actually looked like we were missing a bit of a final ball, missing like a bit of a shot, but like we were penetrating nice. And I was pretty relaxed, even until the penalty. And I was like, fuck's sake. But then Onana stepped up, pulled out a great save, which he's done a few times today. And yeah, it was weird. Like, I've seen people saying, "Oh, Southampton just fucked it off after they didn't score," and you're like, "Did they? Like, was that in the game plan?" I just don't get that. I mean, I think United just sort of took control of the game. We finished our chances and then looked really, really good.
Yeah. It's bizarre, that, to me, because it's like, if Southampton play well and we don't win, that's because we're crap. If we play well and we do win, it's because they're crap. And I just think that we can't really get any... There's no way for United to get credit here. You can't get credit for defending well because you shouldn't have been defending in the first place. You can't get credit for scoring because they're crap anyway. You can't get credit for winning because you should have beat them. Like, what can United do? Maybe you just can't get any credit against Southampton. But I do think that the way we've been so far this season, how fragile we've looked, to win that game convincingly is very, very good. And a stat I want to talk to you about is the shots conceded. Because... after we saved that penalty, after Onana saved that penalty, Southampton didn't have another shot in the game. They had 6 shots in total in that game, which is fewer than in any game last season. We only conceded less than 10 shots in a game 3 times last year. and that was against Forest twice and against Crystal Palace. 6 shots conceded, a non-penalty XG, which I know they did have a penalty, but the place where that penalty was given from, we traded in a half chance at best for the best chance you can have. Their non-penalty XG is 0.3. Ours is 2.46. Like, stopping them taking shots is a very, very big thing and something we couldn't do at all last season, isn't it?
Well, United got hammered for just giving everyone, including Everton, who are fucking dog poo, 25 shots, 26 shots. So to reduce that number by 20 in a game, of course it's better.
Yeah.
You know, we've had clean sheets, multiples of 2 this season, but like it's a start. You know, it's a step in the right direction. All any football fan wants, and even though it's, you know, it's impossible to have it year on year, but all any football fan wants is progress, right? That's all anybody wants. You just don't want to go backwards or stand still. Everybody wants some sort of a progress, and from that first game, there's been progress with United, and I think it's going to go under the radar. People are going to start talking about Ligt because he scored, but you know, clearing him off the line, you know, just real physical for such a lightweight player, apparently, right? You know, such a real sort of brick wall performance I thought it was from Ligt. But what's going to go under the radar for me is Mazraoui. He's fucking quality, Joe.
Yeah.
He's like, I watch him and I just go, he's a really, really good footballer. No, when he's attacking, when he's defending, I don't look at anything he does and go, what are you do that for?
No, he's completely solid, and he reminds me of, in style, of Dalot a little bit. He's got a similar sort of body type, and the way he runs is similar. But I think he might even have more quality, to be honest. I think he's certainly defensive positionally. He very rarely gets caught out. He don't get skinned particularly. We saw Dalot.
I don't think he's as rash. I think Dalot can be rash.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's just his composure and his sort of ability. I think another player I want to talk about. 2 more players I think we need to mention. The first one is Marcus Rashford, who, had things gone a different way, could have had that goal against Brighton if he was, you know, half a yard further back. He's got a goal there that was eventually disallowed. He should have had an assist for Garnacho in that first game where Garnacho misses an open net from 10 yards out, and obviously put 2 balls on Zirkzee's head and foot against Liverpool that, again, probably should have got at least 1 assist there. Finally opened his account today with that goal. Are you seeing improvement from him? Are you seeing a bit more effort, a bit more willingness to do the harder things? I was looking at some stats before, and last season, his total expected assists was 2.4. And this season, before today, it was already 1.4. I mean, I don't know if that says how bad it was last year, but like, do you see different things from Rashford this season? Obviously, culminating in that goal today.
I think he's been all right this year.
Yeah.
No, I think he's been all right. I think there's a lot of shite in the comments about him, and people are trying to put this up against him and Garnacho, and I think Garnacho's been all right. Right? Apparently, I fucking hate Garnacho, because you know how it is. If you just prefer one player over another, you obviously hate the other one.
Yeah.
So I think Garnacho looks good coming off the bench, and he's proven to be contributing off the bench. This isn't Ahmad and Anthony, where one's absolutely stinking the gaff out. And some people will disagree with that and they'll say Rashford has been stinking the gaff out. Last season he did, right? This season I don't think that's the case. I think his performances have been good. What's been underwhelming in his performances, particularly the Liverpool one, was when he had opportunities to go at a runner or to have a shot. He didn't.
Yeah.
Now he's done that today, but I still think it certainly wasn't a 10 out of 10 performance from him today. It was better.
Yeah.
And I think there's still levels and gears for him to go through, but I would still keep playing him and see where it leads to him. I think he's looked, like I said, he's looked all right this year. And unfortunately, for how much people want it to be true, it isn't the case that Garnacho is levels better than him. This isn't, like I said, Anthony and Ahmad, where you're like, fuck it, what is he doing?
Yeah. Like,
the 2 of them are extremely close, and I could give you the fact that you might say, well, I think Garnacho's 1% in front. And I go, okay, that's fine. Like, I think that's all that's in it. I think it's a very, very tiny percentage in between the 2 of them. So I think it'd be interesting to see where he takes it from here, because he's clearly a confidence player. And I think having a goal and a few shots today, which he did have, would have been another one that came off. But, having a few shots, positive.
Yeah. Another player that had a few shots today, 3 to be precise, but in very good areas and had an XG of over 1 despite not scoring, is Joshua Zirkzee. Talk to me about, he's a weird one because I feel like depending on who you look at and what response you see, it's either he's an absolute, he just wastes chances left, right and centre and he's a terrible player, or he's linking the play really well, he's bringing others in, he's getting good chances, which is the first step of a very good striker. Obviously putting him away is the second step. Where do you stand on Zirkzee? Because I thought, especially his non-shooting stuff today was brilliant, some of it. Some of his link-up play was really good.
Yeah, that's what he brings. What I think is important with Zirkzee is that he starts scoring.
Yeah.
You know, that is what he's there for. It doesn't matter if his link play could be fucking sensational. He's a flop if he doesn't score at the end of the day. So he's got to score some goals. And he's had good chances to score both against Liverpool and today. He's got to start scoring. Now, maybe once he puts a couple away, they start flowing. It's a massive contrast to Højlund, who just wasn't getting the opportunities. And some people will go, well, getting opportunities is a skill. And it is, but I don't think that Zirkzee's doing stuff that Højlund couldn't or wouldn't do. I think United have just got a tiny bit more structure to us in the final third. I think with Ahmad, who's way keener to link play than Anthony, who just comes inside and cuts it over the bar. Like, I think that there's a difference to what United are trying to do. And there's maybe an evolution to what United are trying to do. And I think Mazraoui even helps with a little bit of our momentum in the final third. I think on the right-hand side, Ahmad and Mazraoui, they look dangerous, didn't they, down that right-hand side?
Just on Ahmad?
So I think
go on.
I think that Zirkzee's kind of benefiting from that a little bit. But he does need to start scoring.
On Ahmad, he made 6 chances today. Which is more than I think Anthony's ever made in a game for Man United, and I don't want to use
in a season.
I don't want to use this as a way to just bash Anthony because I don't think it's necessary particularly. I mean, feel free to, but Ahmad sort of.
It's accurate though, isn't it?
It is accurate, but he's just sort of slipped into this team, and he's got a goal this season and consistently dangerous down that right hand side today, and putting good balls in. Just got an assist as well, obviously for the Garnacho goal. He's just very good, isn't he? Very technical, very good, great weight of pass, good timing, good decision making. He's been really good this season.
I like how he holds it. I like that he comes in and knits it. That's the one word I would use to describe him. He knits it nice. Yeah. And I think that's a nice trait for him to have. And I don't mind then having a bit of an asymmetric threat on the opposite side, whereas Garnacho and Rashford are quite similar in that they're quite direct and they're both liable to lose it a little bit in the way that they want to dribble. They're very straight line dribblers, if that makes sense, whereas Ahmad's a bit like Sancho in a way, really, where he'll come inside and he'll work in between the lines, but without the fucking attitude. Yeah. And it's clearly working for him. So yeah, it's real nice to see from him because he isn't the traditional winger. When he really broke through at Sunderland, he was kind of playing in that right-hand half-space channel as a bit of a number 10. So he can come inside and he can create. That he can also go around the outside if he wants to. He's a little bit left foot focused, but not to the extent with Anthony. And also, he doesn't frustrate like Anthony. His first thought is to create for the team. And maybe that's another reason why Zirkzee's getting opportunities that Højlund didn't get. Because where Højlund might make a run across the front post with Anthony's like, nice one, he's cleared somebody out of the way so I can go and hit this fucking old lady in the stand behind the goal. So maybe that's a bit of a difference, is that the forward line is, even just with one player difference, trying to make chances for each other.
Yeah, I think that's crucial. We talked about before the season, didn't we, how when you have a front three of, and this isn't a criticism of Højlund just because he's a striker, so you would expect it less, but of Højlund, Rashford, Garnacho, those three between them are all looking to score for themselves almost every time, aren't they? Yeah. Whereas you slip Ahmad in there and then Zirkzee as well as a little bonus, all of a sudden people are making chances for each other rather than getting it, smacking it. Just on Ten Hag a little bit, because we'd have been talking about him if we'd have lost, so let's talk about him a bit if now we've won. How much does this alleviate pressure on him? And if you're him, are you just thinking, good performance, we need to do that again? Or are you sort of considering your kind of fate at Man United after every game and worrying about your future? Where do you think he is mentally, and how much credit do you give him for today?
I think he needs some credit for today, for sure. I think today was a really difficult position for him because, like we said at the top of the show, you're expected to beat Southampton. So if you don't, and it's also then your third loss on the bounce 5 games into the season, there's not a lot you can say. You know, the only thing that's going to save you is the decisions of other people. You know, the likes of Barada and Wilcox and all them lot. Whether they've had decisions, whether they've had conversations, whether they've gone, you know, whatever the parameters are that we'll never know about. They might have said, do what you can this season, it's all about next season.
Yeah.
Like that might have been something they said. They might have also said the opposite, which is like, if you're not top 4 by Christmas, you're on your fucking ear, our kid. Like, it could be everything of those things and everything in between. So we have no way of knowing, but those are the most important people in it. I would expect him going into this game, because I was going into this game thinking that it was probably the case. I reckon he went into this game thinking, if we fucking lose here, it's curtains.
Yeah.
And it might have been. So I don't think he's out of the woods in the slightest. I think there's still... If you fucking go out of the cup to Barnsley, and then who is it next week? Is it Palace? Palace is an hard game.
Yeah.
Right? Shouldn't be. But it is. Right? Let's be honest with ourselves. It is. If you don't have your P's and Q's in order at Palace, you get turned over. We've seen it happen to many a team. So, like, if he can put together a convincing performance, which I'm expecting Wheatley, Collier, etc., to probably feature a little bit in this. Maybe you see Ugarte start this one. Like, probably fairly heavily rotated in that match on Tuesday night. And then you can go and put in a decent performance against Palace. He might be able to breathe out. But like going out of the cup, regardless of the circumstances on Tuesday and not getting a win, even if you get a 0-0 or something away next week, the knives will be out again.
Yeah.
Like he needs like 5 or 6 consecutive wins with a sort of performance that we've just seen today, where people will be like, I get what he's doing. We're making chances. We're no longer conceding 400 fucking shots a game. Like, because today we saw like multiple metrics of improvement, from the shots conceded to the chances created to the level of control exerted to just like the feel of it, like the ease at which it felt. All of those things are important. If you get that for the next 5 or 6 games, regardless of the opposition, and rack the wins up at the same time, then that Ineos footballing board can kind of justify their decision of, yeah, we're keeping him. And then if you do end up with a banana skin somewhere, it's less of a, this is a fucking crisis, and that was a banana skin. So I think now he's got to just rack up the wins.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to shut the critics up.
Yeah, it's got to be done on the pitch now, and it's a good start. Right, thank you very much, Steve, for joining us. Thank you for watching at home as well. Get your thoughts in on this victory. Manchester United winning 3-0, and we haven't been able to say 3-0 many times in the last couple of years, so I'm very happy to say it now. Thank you for joining us at home. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you in a bit.